Well, the first step of reupholstering the front seats is the cushions. And I'm not going to bore you with going through the whole process because it's exactly the same as the rear seat. Just take the cover off of the old one, pulled all the staples out, got some new foam, same remnant foam from the sailboat, same setup with gluing the new piece of 1-inch foam onto the top so that we can get this nice little knee rise there. Basically, exact same cushion, just smaller. So, got that one done. And then there were two. That means all of our seat bottoms are done. And next we start working on the front bucket seats. This will be an interesting one. So I brought one of the front seats inside and I've pulled all the staples out. So now the cover's loose. I've got all the staples out on the bottom side as well. What I'm hoping to do here, I'm hoping the fabric holds together for me. So I'm going to gently pull this cover off of here. I'm going to take a seam ripper and I'm going to take all the pieces apart so I can use them as a pattern for the new stuff. What I'm really worried about is this top area where the fabric's already ripping apart. Hoping that I can get that apart without distorting it anymore. So let's see how it goes. Alright, well I'm pretty happy with how that came off. I was a little bit worried they may have glued it to the foam underneath, but it was just stapled around the bottom. Actually came off pretty easily, and I don't think I really messed it up any more than it was already torn up from the sun. So I'm going to start pulling out all these stitches, and actually even the foam on the seat itself is not in terrible shape. The top's got a little wear and tear, but I think it'll be all right. So now you just gotta pick it all apart and start cutting out some new fabric for this thing. Well, after quite a bit of seam ripping, I got all the pieces separated. Chassis now, using them as bed. Just set them out in the sun for a while and tried to get them all as flat as possible because obviously 30 something years of being in shape, a lot of the vinyl had stretched and kind of conformed to where it wanted to be. I think I did a pretty alright job of flattening it all out so I could take patterns. I ended up just using one of these armrest pieces because that one was just so torn up I wasn't sure about the shape, so I ended up using the other one. It was in a little bit better condition, and use those as templates and cut out some new pieces, a little bit oversized, so I've got some to trim off on the bottom once I bring it around. And I'm gonna start sewing it together here pretty soon. And then actually in that roll over there I drew out a second set of pieces for the second seat. I'm a little nervous to cut them out just yet because obviously if I made a mistake on this one, it's going to get duplicated on the other one, so I don't want to do that. But hopefully this will all go well, and I can just cut out a second set. I'll have two brand new seats. So the first seat cover is all sewn together. I just couldn't wait, had to throw it on the seat just to see how it looked. Obviously it's looking pretty baggy right now because it's not all pulled in place. I still need to put the silk film down so that it'll slide on a little easier and start stapling, but looks like it's going to fit pretty good once I get it all stretched tight. I'm really happy with how everything's coming out so far. A few hundred staples and a little cussing later, and we have one completed captain's chair. And I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. There's a few little things where I could have made my seams a little more consistent, and we got a couple little bunches in the corners. There's one little wrinkle that I haven't been able to smooth out yet. I think might hit that with a little heat and see if I can get it to shrink up. But overall, for basically my first upholstery project, I am really happy with the way this came out. And one thing I was kind of stressing was this French seam on the back, just because it's so visible. Trying to get it, trying to make sure it was nice and even and the stitches lined up well. I was a little nervous about doing that one, but I think it came out pretty good. Definitely good enough for a $1,500 boat. I got the second one of the front seats here, and when I did the first one I reused all the foam, but when I put the cover on I wasn't super happy with how it came out on these edges. Most of the foam's in pretty good shape, but just those corners are so compressed in the old foam. Like you can see here, it's just permanently smashed, and it kind of made for some hard spots in the corners when I was putting the new cover on. So I cut just a new strip of 1-inch foam. I'm going to glue around there. The rest of the foam I'm going to reuse. It's really not in bad shape. It's just right in those corners where the cover pulls tight that it was kind of over compressed, and figured I'd try and make the second one a little nicer than the first one. And now the foam's all glued up. So I'm just going to give that a little time to dry and start putting the cover on it. And just like that, we had twins! Might have to take a break and go head out to the water now. The second seat definitely came out better. I'm glad I added that foam. Not enough better that I'm going to take apart the first one and redo it, but I am very, very happy. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do next. I'm sure the boat will keep me busy for a while longer. So I was asked by one of the viewers of a previous video about the companionway opening here, and because he's got a similar boat, I was asking, I believe, about this side trim here that was missing on his boat. Mine, unfortunately, the piece is broken at the top. It does still work though. So hopefully that's what you need, Mike. Pretty similar piece on this side as well. Goes around the door. And I realize that don't think I've actually shown you guys inside the cabin yet, so let's take a walk in there. Not a lot of space in here, but it's in surprisingly good condition. So you've got a little closet there. I've got some life vests and the fire extinguisher in there. There's a little hatch in the top. A couple lights up front. You know, nothing too fancy in here, but it's enough to spend the night if you want to camp out on it. Got a little cubby up there. I just throw like the registration stuff, and then of course the stereo's there so we can get some music going. And I just keep towels and sweaters and stuff kind of stored around the edge. And then this cushion here actually lifts out. Let's see if I can get in there. So this lifts out and there's some storage under there. Again, I've just been keeping my tools in there while I've been working on it. But there's plenty of room to put all sorts of stuff in here. So I figure at some point we want to go on a little trip or just spend the night on the boat. We got a place to go.